Hi there, it's Gabrielle from SpeechKids, and yeah, it's me from my car again. I was thinking about, does this ever happen to you? Do you ever go visit a family member and your child is like shrinking away from grandma and grandpa? Or does somebody, you have a guest over and your child is in the other room the whole time and their aunt or uncle or your friend who you haven't seen for a long time, all they want to do is play with your little one, and your little one is refusing to do this? Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever wondered how to respond? I was thinking about this the other day when I was talking about talking less to your child, and it occurred to me, I had heard from several aunties over the past few weeks about how they went to visit their sister or their brother's children, and their niece or nephew was so excited for them to come, so their sibling had said, oh, they're super excited that you're coming, and then spent the rest of the afternoon or the rest of the time that the aunt or uncle was visiting in the other room, and how painful that was for the aunt, who doesn't get to see her niece or nephew very often, and wants nothing more than to interact with them. So I wanted to give you some tips to share with your special family members or special people who don't see your kids every day. And so the first one is, when they come over or when you go to them, ignore your child. Tell them to just pretend that your child is not even there. Because here's what's happening. When the special visitor, we'll use grandma because that's something that happens all the time. Grandma comes in the door and she goes right for the cheeks and she says, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you," and gives a big hug and wants to ask all kinds of questions. And all that's doing for your child is stressing them out, like a lot, which is why they sort of go into like catatonia. Now, some kids are fine with this. So if you have a child who is perfectly fine, like jumping right into a social interaction, by all means, like, don't change anything. But if you've got a kid who goes behind you or goes into the other room when this happens, tell your mom or your mother-in-law, and again, we're picking on grandma today just because, that when she comes in, when she arrives for the first few minutes, just to talk to you. And let your child get comfortable with the idea that, yeah, this is a person we know and trust. We love grandma. We love it when she comes to visit, but you're going to have to demonstrate that to your child before your child is going to be able to act on it. So ignore, the first piece of advice I have for you is to tell whoever's arriving or wherever you're going to just ignore your child. Okay, second piece of advice is to go back to that whole notion of not talking quite so much. So if grandma wants to be interacting with your kiddo, have her just sit down and start doing the same thing next to your child. So if your child is drawing at the table, get grandma to go sit down and draw something too. And just do it wordlessly. You don't have to talk all the time, says the speech therapist. Just sometimes getting into somebody else's lane is an invitation to then start communicating back and forth. And then the third strategy I would offer is, as much as possible, have grandma not ask a lot of questions. You can gain much more information if you're making parallel statements or comments. I'm drawing with a blue crayon and then just waiting and seeing what happens. So making parallel comments about what's happening versus, oh, what are you doing? Oh, what are you drawing? Oh, what's this? Oh, what's that? We ask a lot of questions of our kiddos, and it can be a little stressful. So those are some thoughts for you today for your sometime guests. And again, we picked on grandma, but she's not the only one. So have a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.